Welcome in to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm Tim Dennis. It is a Wednesday. That means only one thing. We got to bring in a co-host, and we're going to bring in the best in the business. He's the BCB. He'd be the TCB, taking care of business, but he's the BCB, the Big Cuddly Bear, the Beer City Bruiser. Bruiser, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. Timmy, we're recording really early this morning. This is unusual for us, especially after we both had such a busy weekend.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry, brother. You know what happened here was I set up our a guest through a third party, and I have a doctor appointment today. I got a lot of things going on. And
you're just a busy guy. A busy guy.
And I said, you know what? Let's set him up for Wednesday. And my booker set it up for Tuesday. And I was like, oh, what are you doing to me? You're killing me. And of course, it's right before the doctor appointment too. So
whatever we got to do to bring this to the fans, I'm there. To the listeners, we love you, and we're up really early to do this for you.
Yes, we are. We're up extremely early.
Which is not normal for the cruiser now, because we're both night owls.
That's right. So ladies, you get to hear our morning voices. I don't know if that's a turn on or not. Today we've got some, it's all about the cryptids, baby. That's what it's all about. We've got a lot of cryptid stories, but we are going to balance it a little bit. We're going to bring back some of those scariest ghost stories ever. I don't know that they're that scary, but we bring back some of those ghost stories today. By the way, we're a little low on the Parashare story. So if you've got a Parashare story you want to share with us, just take and write up your personal paranormal experience. Email it to me, tim@darknessradio.com, because we want to hear from you. So please do that, first of all. Second of all, if you didn't listen to yesterday's True Crime Tuesday, we have a few of you who don't. Please accept our genuine thank yous. Both of us were out this weekend. Bruiser was out in Kansas City and in the North Carolina area, was out doing the underwater needlepoint. You know what? I actually, I had a woman come up to me at Michigan Paracon. That's where I was this weekend. She came up to me and she goes, Tim, and I go, what? She goes, it's about time. And I go, it's about time what, my love? She said, it's about time to drop the underwater needlepoint thing. I think we can all accept the fact now that we can call it pro wrestling.
I don't know. I had two listeners come up to me, one in Kansas, one in North Carolina, and they asked when we're coming out with the underwater needlepoint T-shirts with the Bruiser and the Cruiser. I said, it's in the works. We're in the works, baby.
And that's the other thing. I did tell people we're working on merchandise. So I said we can't. That's what I told her. We can't drop it yet because the merchandise is coming soon. So we can't drop the title as of yet. So, but maybe we'll start to work in the wrestling references. And then I did have one guy who came up to the table and he goes, I got to ask you. I said, yeah. And he goes, the hell is underwater needlepoint?
My job, man. Come on.
That's right. It's Bruiser's job. And then I had to explain to him that there were certain listeners that were left over from the other era of Darkness Radio that were a little sensitive to your job. I don't know why that was. I don't know. Maybe they were pacifists. I have no idea.
I don't know. I know wrestling's not for everyone, but you and I do our best to. Because you and I could talk for hours on wrestling. We do off the air. When we're not recording, you and I are just going back and forth about what's happening in the world of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
But it's if you don't like it, that's fine. It doesn't offend me. No, everyone has their own choice. I'm glad you're listening to the show. And, you and I will keep doing what we do. You know?
Exactly. But it's funny, and we've talked about it before. And believe it or not, we may even put out a special edition of the show. I think that's what we'll do because it's more tailored to a specific part of our audience, and it is a huge part of our audience. Don't get me wrong. But I think what we'll do is we'll have you and me, and then I'll bring in Dave LaGreca from Busted Open Radio.
Okay.
And maybe get a few others, maybe Tommy Dreamer if we can get a hold of him, and maybe some others in the business. And we'll sit around and we'll share some more stories about paranormal experiences on the road.
Which happened. Like people need to understand that we do travel a lot. I mean, we're on the road a lot, and it's hotels and promoters try to find us. They want to go save a little bit of money, so they don't put us in the greatest hotels. Mm-hmm. And we've had paranormal experience. I myself have had paranormal experiences. In fact, this past weekend, the promoter didn't put me in the same haunted hotel like I asked him, but he put me in another one. And I was trying to take a nap. I kept hearing noises, and I couldn't figure out what it was. So I walk outside. Turns out they were doing construction on the hotel.
Oh,
so I couldn't tell if it was paranormal or the construction people. So, but yeah, we get them all the time. Like random people just appearing at places, and the big thing that's always happened to me is the water faucet's always turning on and off. You know,
really?
Oh, yeah, that's happened to me numerous times. It's usually when Malonis is with me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he always yells at me like I'm trying to trick him. I'm like, well, I'm in my bed. I'm like getting over to the faucet, man.
Well, you know, it's I suppose he might have it coming too. He you know, the more frightened you are of it, or the more you're calling attention to it, the more it seems they want to come after you. So
yeah, and he wants no. He has a rule that when he rooms with me, if something paranormal happens, I'm not supposed to let him know till we're miles away from the hotel. And then I can share it, but he doesn't want to know while we're there.
Well, sometimes you just can't help it. Sometimes you just got to call it out. Otherwise, you don't want that man to soil himself. That's for sure.
Well, I'm always trying to figure out what the natural cause is. So I get up and I'm curious, and I'm like with the faucets, I play with it, see how loose it is, and all that. And what am I supposed to do? Oh, I'm sorry, man. I just I heard a knock at the door. I wanted to answer it. I figured we ordered delivery. I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't know if you ordered food or it's just a friendly ghost from the 1800s.
Exactly.
Sorry. It's just
my favorites whenever we have people running up and down the hallway, because he always complains about, oh, they're running, these people are so loud. And I'll go look and there's nobody there.
Yeah.
But I can't tell him there's nobody there. I'll just have to randomly yell something in the hallway. So if you're ever in a hotel with me, and you hear running up and down, you hear Bruiser just yell at me, "Hey, kids, get off my lawn!" Then that's not me being angry. That's me trying to pacify the 400-pound man in the bed next to me.
That doesn't want to know about the paranormal. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, interesting stuff. So from the bottom of Bruiser's heart, from the bottom of my heart, I don't mean to speak for the man; he can speak for himself. But we got a lot of nice compliments, a lot of nice thoughts, a lot of nice just overall feedback from listeners this weekend. They came up and just said some really nice stuff about how they like the direction of the show, how they like the guests that are on the show, how they love Bruiser. They love Bruiser. They want to see Bruiser out at paranormal conventions. So we're going to make that happen.
Yes, I can't wait to meet fans at the paranormal. Like, it's great meeting fans at wrestling shows, but they're there for the wrestling. They're not there for the paranormal. But we still sit and talk.
Yeah,
like I sit and talk to everybody, listen to their stories, and I think I message you like almost instantly, and
yep.
So it'll be fun to be at a con and actually in that environment and talking about it.
And I had told Bruiser off air that there was one gentleman who was definitely against the fact that Bruiser was on this show. He was adamantly against the fact that Bruiser was on this show, and came up and just apologized and said he really does love the fact that Bruiser's on the show, and he really does know his stuff. And
you don't call me the big cuddly bear for nothing.
That's right. So I want to thank that man for coming up to the booth and just saying hi, and for saying he's Team Bruiser now. So that's greatly appreciated as well. So you all will love the Bruiser after a while. You'll find out that not only does he know his stuff, but he's passionate about the paranormal as well. It's not all about turning this thing into a wrestling show. I can tell you that. We may turn it into a Van Halen love fest sometime during the program. We've got a story today about how Sammy Hagar believes he had a dream visitation from Eddie Van Halen.
Which would make sense. They were together for years.
They did. And you know what? There's an interesting twist to that story, and you might have heard this earlier, that they made up shortly before Eddie died. They made up by text. Yeah.
That is good, because, obviously they had a falling out, and Eddie was the leader of Van Halen, whether you want to say he was or wasn't, he was. Mm-hmm. And to hear that they got to mend fences before Eddie's passing was really good.
I know Sammy has there are different iterations of what happened, and Sammy hasn't said much about it, but he he's essentially said that whether it was one or the other that reached out, I believe it was Sammy that reached out to Eddie because he heard he wasn't doing well.
Yeah.
And just texted him, said he was, he loved him. He was, saying prayers for him. I believe Eddie at the time said he wasn't doing all that great, but he said he loved him too. And they just started talking about old times. They weren't really talking about anything other than that, but just expressing love for each other. And that's all he said. He didn't say anything other than that. He didn't get into their conversation. But
he shouldn't, because that's a personal experience between two men.
Right.
The public just needs to know they mended fences before Eddie passed.
Yeah. And that's what's important. And I'm one of those Van Halen fans that doesn't get the split between Team Dave and Team Sammy.
I don't either, especially when the third iteration that everyone forgets about had that guy from Extreme come in.
Gary Cherone, which was, okay, so the music, if you take Cherone's voice out of it, isn't bad.
No, it's okay.
But it's Gary Cherone.
He'll always be the Extreme lead singer. I don't care what anybody says.
Now, have you heard the Mitch Malloy demos?
No, I haven't.
They're good.
I have not. I heard they're out there, but I'm a hardcore Sammy David, Van Halen fan. We're like that's my Van Halen. I don't take Team David. I take like they're a tag team. That's my Van Halen, and I didn't like the newer stuff. So
yeah.
Well, I haven't listened to it. I should.
We'll get into that a little later in the program. We'll geek out on Van Halen a little bit for you. And like I mentioned yesterday in the program, right over my left shoulder, I have a huge canvas that I've had framed, custom framed, by the way. The only one expensive thing I own in my life, a custom canvas of Eddie Van Halen playing Eruption on stage. It's the one. Actually, it's not the one expensive thing I own. The other expensive thing I own, Bruiser, is an actual Wolfgang USA guitar, the same model that Eddie played on stage in the second to the last tour that Eddie before Eddie passed. So it's the one. It's the exact same one. If you watch Jimmy Kimmel, when they performed on the Jimmy Kimmel show, when they reunited with David Lee Roth, it's the black Wolfgang USA with the kill switch, the red kill switch.
Yep.
Yeah. It's one of the and it's got the stainless steel frets.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. It's a nice guitar. It's a very nice guitar.
He was so good at, and again we're getting on a tangent on Van Halen, but he was so good at making his guitars. When you saw a guitar, you could put yourself to where that was. Like the jump, the 1984 guitar, the guitar you're talking about. It's just like he was really good about doing that, and you could tell a really good guitar player by how they treat their guitar, because you can look at like a Kurt Hammett from Metallica. He's got the Frankenstein guitar. You can go to Dimebag, from Pantera, and it's like you recognize, you see the guitar. Like everyone can remember the Eddie Van Halen 1984 guitar, the red and black with the lines and stuff. Like you see that, and right away you associate that with him.
Oh yeah,
because that's probably the most famous guitar he played. But
and all throughout his life, he worked with different guitar makers to try and get the sound that he wanted, and it was only through this new EVH line that he's made through Fender that he feels that he really got it. Although most guitar aficionados say that he really nailed it with the Music Man guitar, which was the line before this one. They say it plays a little bit better than the Fender EVH line. Although I love the Fender EVH line. It's so smooth. It just it's such an easy guitar to play. And
I'm gonna pick up guitar once I'm done with the underwater needlepoint.
You should. Yeah. It's relaxing. It really is.
Yeah, and
do it before you.
So many guitar players, and Eddie Van Halen, Adam Jones from Tool is just amazing. You'd be remiss if you don't mention Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine. The noise he created with the guitar. Yeah, we went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it was when they just inducted Rage Against the Machine, and it was really cool because they have video. Obviously they play videos. But it's Tom Morello, Eddie Van Halen, and Eric Clapton all on stage doing guitar solos at the same time.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what concert it was. I don't know where it was. Eddie looked a little bit older, obviously, but, just watching the three, it's like they're magicians. You're just watching their hands go and the sounds that are coming out. It's just amazing.
Yeah, there's some of my most favorite memories, favorite clips actually happen to be, I want to say, was it 85, 86? It was right in that area. It was that gray area. Maybe it was even 84, where they didn't know if Dave was coming back to the band or not. Eddie shows up, SNL, plays with G.E. Smith and the band on SNL, and Valerie Bertinelli is hosting.
Okay.
And Eddie comes along and plays a 3-minute song with the band, and it's just him riffing, and the band is playing kind of a big band set, but he's doing a 3-minute extended solo along with the band.
Oh,
so he would weave in and out with the band, and it's on YouTube. It's an amazing little bit. Nights where he would sit in with Late Night with David Letterman and then The Late Show with David Letterman, both on NBC and CBS, were amazing nights because he would play these classic rock tunes but throw his own spin on it.
Yeah.
Just amazing nights where you got things from Eddie, little gems from Eddie that you would never get on stage.
So,
yeah.
There's a fantastic Family Guy episode where Peter goes into the library to look up the book 1984, but they end up giving him he's like, an audio book, and it's the Van Halen 1984. And he just starts rocking out, and there's that guitar solo. I think it might be Eruption or it might be Panama, where there's that guitar solo.
Yep.
And he just destroys it down in his car. He's just rocking out. And I'm like, I feel you, bro. Like that's right. How it always is.
You can't help but get into it. I mean, that was the thing that was different too. And again, I know we'll get to it later.
We're doing a music podcast.
We are. But it was a party type of band, and at least in the Dave era. In the Sammy era, it did get more into a love type song type band.
Well, the Twister soundtrack is amazing. Human Beings is one of the most perfectly written songs, I think.
But listen to the lyrics.
The lyrics are terrible.
It was supposed to be about a tornado ripping through a town, and it ended up being about it ended up being about love. It really did. It was just, and when you read biographies about that song, Eddie did kind of go, what the F, dude? What is this? What are the lyrics to the song about? It was supposed to be about a tornado ripping through a town. And there's a reason why the notes crescendo in the song. Eddie's watching the movie and he's doing that dun 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 because it's supposed to feel like a tornado building.
Okay. It does.
Yeah. But then it's supposed to, you're supposed to be writing lyrics about death, destruction, and this tornado ripping up a town. And here's Sammy singing about humans being and loving and da 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 da. And he goes, "What the F, dude? That wasn't what the song was about. Let's sing about death, destruction, and this tornado ripping their shit out of a town." So there was a definite disconnect in the band at that point. So
yeah, it was still it's one of my favorite Van Halen songs.
Oh, there's Amsterdam is one of my favorite from the Sammy Hagar, and we'll get into that later. Like I said,
we'll get into that later.
Just as we're talking about that,
we got cryptids.
Just as we're talking about this, Guitar Center calls me and asks if I want to buy another expensive guitar. You gotta love it. They're like, "Hey, well, you want to buy another expensive guitar?" No, I don't. I have.
I have to. Come on, I have to put my kid through college. We got this new guitar here, Timmy. Come on.
Yeah.
Get it.
No, I just have the one. I have the one. If I did ever get another one, it'd be that Ultimate Gem one that Steve Vai has. But
Well, here's the ultimate question. So everyone knows your nephew, and if they don't know, your nephew is a fantastic guitar player.
Oh my God, Austin is amazing.
You let him play the Wolfgang guitar?
I have.
You have? Okay.
Just sad, yeah. And he's the only one I've let touch it.
Yeah.
He's come over to visit quite a few times, and I just hand him the guitar. I set it up. I hand him the guitar, and I just sit and watch him play.
Yeah, because he said he's an amazing guitarist.
He's amazing. He's to keep in mind, folks. He's 18, and when he was 15, he was playing Jimi Hendrix by ear.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, I just sit and he sends me videos. He's like, "Hey, I picked this up, and now I'm playing this." And And so one year for, actually, I think it was his 16th birthday. I got him lessons.
Nice.
Because I was just tired of him hacking around. And I said, so I got it for his 16th. I got him that. For his 17th, I got him Steve Vai theory books.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because I wanted him to, I said, if you're really serious about this, I'll guide you through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. Now that we've given you a complete music podcast, let's get to the paranormal, shall we? I know you probably skipped around through all that if you're not into music, but let's talk a little bit about the paranormal. We've got a full show for you today. Like we said, we're cryptid heavy today. Evidently, Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, Chupacabra, and more are making appearances this week. And, it's the end of summer. We're coming up to Labor Day.
Yeah, they're getting ready for their Labor Day weekends. They're getting their invites out for the cookout.
Yep, it's the last bit of sun, I guess, for all our monster friends. So they're making their appearances.
Cryptid Cookout. Hey, there it is. That's the end of summer. Come to I think I might start this over Labor Day weekend.
The Cryptid Cookout edition. That's what it is. We're not putting them on the grill. We should. Yeah.
No.
Although I'm sure a Chupacabra is tasty if you put a little Lowry seasoning salt on it.
Yeah, but I heard the Jersey Devil's a little sour. You want to stay away from it.
Yeah, they're a little tough. They're busy running around. Let's start out, though, with the old UFOs, which are up in the sky. Photos are depicting a UFO being chased by a fighter, and they were released from Wendell Stevens' locker, which, by the way, I love that album. I believe it's a Counting Crows album, to get back to music. A few days ago, ufologist Dustin Shutta shared new photos showing a UFO and a fighter jet. He wrote this: "I own these photographs of a fighter jet /B-1 chasing or being followed by a UFO taken in 1994. The location is unknown. If anyone has any more info about these series of photographs, let me know. Also, these photographs came from Colonel Wendell Stevens' storage locker." Wendell C. Stevens is was a retired U.S. Air Force pilot turned UFO investigator and researcher. Wendell began his military career in the Army Air Force in 1942. After World War II, in the newly formed Air Force, Wendell participated in many top-secret programs, including those which had him investigate UFOs. Having this official inside knowledge, he knew there was something to the phenomena. There we go. I did it. So he began his own private research and investigation. Since then, Wendell collected more than 4,000 actual UFO photographs and has written and co-authored over 30 books on extensive UFO contact cases. Stevens has also been a director of the International UFO Congress since its inception and its original founding member. He investigated many high-profile cases, such as the Billy Meyer case and the Aztec UFO crash in New Mexico. Wendell Stevens passed away on September 7th of 2010 in Tucson, Arizona. So there you go.
Billy Meyer case is a real famous case, too. It's really interesting. If anybody's ever interested in it, I don't remember what the book's called, but there's a great book based on it. Mm-hmm. And it really gets in depth into his story, and it's fascinating. Yeah. I always thought Travis Walton was the most famous one, but then I read that book and I'm like, whoa, yeah, this kid, yeah, Billy's got it.
Yeah, most definitely. Bigfoot's been spotted on a British beach. Ain't no cure for the summertime blues, evidently, for Bigfoot.
He's working on his tan.
He is, yeah. As terrified tourists report seeing a 15-foot tall beast. Not only has Bigfoot got a big foot, but evidently this one grew to play in the Bigfoot version of the NBA.
He's the Shaquille O'Neal of Bigfoots.
That he is. And he's also, I guess, got endorsement deals like Shaquille O'Neal as well.
Did they originally approach him for Jack Links, but he turned it down because he had a better deal in the books?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. That's what it was, yeah. Now he's got his own Papa John's franchise as well. Shocked Brit tourists have witnessed a huge beast built like Arnold Schwarzenegger, as they're saying it. Wouldn't you love to run?
He's just a big, jacked up Bigfoot, huh?
Yeah, wouldn't you love to meet a Bigfoot that talks like Arnold?
Oh, yeah.
Running on the beach. Hello there, everybody.
Hello, you can't see me. I'm hide and seek champion.
I'm 15 feet tall, but I'm very friendly. Come here.
I picture him dressing like Rocky too, with like that real tight, skin tight yellow tank top, the real high running shorts with the socks jacked up and the headband, but he's got the hair everywhere as he's walking on the beach. I'm just getting a workout in.
Excuse me, are you a maid? You're very attractive. So he's taken in the sunshine while on holiday to Norfolk, while some are suspecting. It's early. Suspecting it's Bigfoot. It looks like Bigfoot's gone on holiday to Norfolk. That's a good place to go, by the way. Visitors have reported seeing a massive beast on Holcomb Beach. That massive beast, huh? Is that a nude beach? By the way, I don't have the rim shot up, but I would have given myself one there. Over the past week, one sunseeker said he saw a 15-foot tall creature built like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and huge footprints, 5 times the size of a man's, were also seen at the beauty spot. You know what they say? Big feet, big sandals on the beach.
Yeah.
It's the first time evidence of the woodland wild man. Oh, by the way, I think you wrestled him a couple weeks ago, the Woodland Wild Man.
I actually was on a show with the Woodland Wild Man, yep.
Yeah. Has been seen in the area, although there have long been rumors of weird goings-on in the area. Last year, the Daily Star Sunday told how a footprint and claw marks said to belong to Bigfoot were found in the Cannock Chase staffs. Yeah.
That's new. You don't really hear claw prints with Bigfoot imprints. That's kind of... Maybe he needs to go get a pedicure?
I think so, yeah. A mani-pedi for Bigfoot is always required, especially as we get towards the end of summer.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of outdoor activities going on. You really got to shore it up for fall,
Yeah, that way he's not, cutting himself in his sleep and stuff.
Yeah, it's important. One man in North Norfolk who wanted to remain anonymous said he had, I want to make sure I get this right, because... I don't want to read this wrong. Said he had nipped off for a wee in the sand dunes when he spotted the monster last weekend. You don't want to nip off your wee. I'm just saying. No, especially around Bigfoot, because he may take it for a snack.
I'm going to use that phrase from now on when I have to use the restrooms. I'm just going to nip off for a wee. I'll be back.
I think that means you go for a nap.
Are you sure?
Yes. If you nip off for a wee, you're going for a nap. Yeah.
I think it's using the restroom.
No. I'll give it to you in context once again. Okay. One man in North Norfolk who wanted to remain anonymous said he had nipped off for a wee in the sand dunes. Then he spotted the monster last weekend.
I still think he went to go.
You're going to get emails.
I'm going to. There's going to be someone yelling at me.
Our British listeners are going to say, no, Bruiser. Nipping off for a wee means you simply go for a nap.
All right.
You go for slumber.
And then Bigfoot's there and wakes you up.
Then he says, "Oh, chap, get up. I'm about to nip off your wee." That's how it works.
I'm on my way to a mani-pedi, but I need to use these claws before they're gone.
That's right. I'm going to sharpen my claws now on your anus. No, I have no idea what that means. He said, I was with a group of friends paddleboarding and had gone for a wee in the dunes when I spotted something out of the corner of my eye. That still doesn't settle anything.
It doesn't. We both can be correct in that situation.
I saw this thing about 15 feet tall, certainly more than double my height, and built like Arnie.
Oh, he's that close with Arnold. You can call him Arnie, huh?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Evidently, they golfed together. I had no idea. By the way, I have to show you this picture of this dog standing next to the Bigfoot track. The dog looks utterly perplexed.
Look at the big feet.
The dog's like, I don't want to be railroaded by that thing from behind.
That's an amazing print, though. Holy cow.
Yeah, it is. That is a Bigfoot if you've ever seen one.
Yeah.
Glanced around at me, and I just stood frozen to the spot. Then it bounded off across the dunes into the pine forest. Now, if he was taking a wee, it went right back up the urethra, into his bladder, and back up into his stomach.
Yep. He no longer has to wee.
That's right. He added, I told my friends what I'd seen, but they just laughed at me and told me I should get some glasses. Nice friends you got there.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Might want to think about switching up. On Monday, 31-year-old Clemmy Long spotted 2 huge footprints as she walked along the beach with her Cavapoo Dusty, who I just showed the picture to Bruiser, the confused dog who went, she said, all of a sudden, Dusty put her nose right to the ground and pulled me along. She had never been so insistent about something and took me straight to these footprints. Clemmy added, when I saw them, I couldn't believe it. They must be 5 times the size of a human footprint. Another local, 29-year-old Graham Yardley, who I believe was in Crosby, Stills, Nash and Yardley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's band reference day here on Supernatural.
He was in the Yardley Birds, which is a cover band of the Yardbirds.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's a good one, Bruiser. Said he had heard of Bigfoot in the area when he was a kid. He said, my dad used to tell me stories of a Bigfoot who lives in the pine forest by the beaches. He used to say the creature survived on eating sheep and cows, and sometimes both at the same time because, show off. I never believed him until now. Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is believed to be an ape-like creature or a very tall, hairy humanoid. So there you go.
I didn't know I could train Ziggy to hunt Bigfoot. I'm going to do that now.
You're going to hunt Bigfoot?
Oh, I'll take her out and she can get the scent like that little doggy did.
Oh, you're talking Ziggy Star Pup.
Star Pup, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go out.
Oh, God, no. No. I mean, I'd love to see him, but...
You're a brave man.
I'm not going to... Especially if he's 15 feet tall and built like Arnie.
Yeah, really. I was like, geez, someone wants to end their career quickly.
Yeah. No, I'm just going to take Ziggy out and find something and have her follow the scent.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't sound bad. Speaking of Sasquatch, as puberty hits me, newly released Sasquatch data shows that we're going to Wyoming, by the way.
Okay.
Where it shows that more Wyoming people are Bigfoot believers. Evidently, there's nothing to do in Wyoming.
There's nothing to do in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Nothing.
They just sit outside and wait for Bigfoot to walk by.
They just make their calls. Bigfoot. Yeah. Shaking the jack links.
Here you go. Here, Sasquatch. Quatch, 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 quatch. In November of 1997, a man and his brother were cutting firewood in the road from Cody to Yellowstone's East Gate when they were startled by a strange sight in the distance. Looking through binoculars, this was their report. It was definitely upright, walking on 2 legs. Then there was no way to say it. At this distance, the specimen appeared to be between 6 and 10 feet in height. Is this a good Wyoming voice?
I think my only reference to Wyoming is the TV show Yellowstone, and you don't really sound like Kevin Costner.
I appreciate that. Thanks. He went on to say, more striking, however, was its mass. The creature, covered in dark hair, almost seemed fat. He was fat-shaming
body-shaming Bigfoot.
Yeah. He goes, maybe obese. This was no bear. I saw it walk for a good 100 yards. Never came down on all fours. Bigfoot. Bigfoot. Looked like good eating. I laid off, though. I put my gun down. I just saluted him. Salute.
Too much fat. Didn't want that much fat in my diet. I want a lean Bigfoot.
My cardiologist says it's bad for my arteries and veins.
I'm going after that Newfoundland Bigfoot. He looked like Arnie.
So I went inside, and Mrs. made me a salad, and I said, woman, I hate greenery. Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry to any Wyoming fans out there.
Yeah, I don't know. We apologize to the entire state of Wyoming. More than 10,000 people in the continental U.S. have claimed to have had encounters over the decades with creatures known as Sasquatch. Those claiming to have seen or interacted with the legendary beast often are met with disbelief and suspicion. But that disbelief is slowly dissipating. A survey in July by Civic Science found that more Americans believe in Bigfoot than they have in the past. Over the past 2 years, the number of adults in the United States who believe that Bigfoot is real, or a real living creature for that matter, have gone up from 11% of those polled in 2020 to 13%. Yeah. The Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, or BFRO, founded in 1995, documents sightings of the mythical beast in North America. And according to the BFRO database, the most frequent sightings in Wyoming have been in Park County. 9 incidents have been reported over the years there compared to other counties. Lincoln has 4 sightings. Teton and Carbon counties have 3 each listed in the database. And is it Uinta? Maybe has 2? Sure. All right, we'll go with it. 7 other Wyoming counties have each had 1 reporting of sightings of the elusive Sasquatch. Crook, Fremont, Johnson, Sheridan, Sublette, Sweetwater, and Washakie. Yeah, that too. It also goes on to say, I do know that there are several sightings that have occurred in Wyoming, said noted Wyoming outdoorsman Paul Ulrich, everywhere from up near Jackson to the Wind River Range to where I grew up outside of Cody. And although skeptics may balk, some of the reports have come from highly credible sources. Let's give you the most famous of all Wyoming Bigfoot stories, shall we?
Yes, please.
All right. It was the account of Wyoming game and fish biologist John Mianchinsky. Or Chinsky.
Oh, he definitely know his animals.
Yeah, John Mianchinsky, who spent almost 2 hours on a bright moonlit night in the Wind River Range in 1972 in a standoff with what could only be described as Bigfoot. He said, "Around midnight, I heard something outside." No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do the voice. It was kind of a rumbling sound, like somebody snoring. Mianchinsky told the listeners of the Sasquatch Tracks podcast this past December, and I saw a shadow come by. Mianchinsky said the nearly full moon was bright, and the silhouette cast by the moonlight made him think a bear was nosing around at a bacon grease stand. Or stain. There's no bacon grease stand, but that would be in Wyoming.
You just stumbled on a $1 million idea.
I did. Get your bacon grease. Bacon grease here, only 25 cents. The bacon is $1. I can't think of anything for bacon. Damn it, we're back on food again, Bruiser.
We are. Look at us.
Yeah. Okay, so silhouette cast by the moonlight made him think a bear was nosing around at a bacon grease stain on his tent. Why would you have bacon grease on your tent?
Yeah.
So he smacked the beast through the canvas wall. Not the smartest idea.
No, you don't go okay, even if it was a bear, you're picking a fight with a bear.
Yeah. In your tent where you're trapped.
Yeah, and you're basically a burrito.
And if that bear takes one swipe and lifts up the steaks out of the tent, you are a burrito because you're wrapped and you're not going anywhere.
Yes.
But the creature didn't move too far away, actually returning to the side wall of his tent 2 more times. When Mianchinsky reached out a 3rd time, he realized there was no bear. This time when it came back, the silhouette was different. It was standing upright, he said. I hit it with my hand. This guy never learns.
Yeah, okay, so it's not a bear. It's an unknown creature. Hey, let's hit it.
Let's hit it again. I just put my fists up and I kept hitting.
I showed that bear who it was. When I found out it wasn't a bear, I said, "Hey, Bigfoot, it's my tank. Get away from my bacon grease."
And when it stood up, it was 10 feet tall, and I said, I'm 7 feet tall and bulletproof.
You're Bigfoot. You don't need this bacon grease. You're already obese. Just walk away.
That's right. You're an obese son bitch. You ain't going to eat my bacon grease stain. I hit it with my hand, and the instant I did that. I can't stop talking like that now. I saw the silhouette of an arm come down on the top of my tent, which was about 6'4" height.
Exactly, because the Bigfoot's like, why is this food attacking me?
What? Why are you picking a fight with something 6'4" that's outside your tent that just happens to be tasting bacon grease?
Well, obviously this guy's got problems. He's got bacon grease on the outside of his tent.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he wants to be eaten.
Yeah. The arm was long, covered with hair, and there was a humanoid hand at the end of that arm. The silhouette of the hand was at the top of my tent, and I say that rather than a bear paw, because digits point straight ahead on a bear paw, this had obvious fingers, 4 fingers and a thumb that was opposed. The beast pushed down hard on the top of Mianchinsky's tent, collapsing it on top of him. He had it coming!
You think Chinsky's like, hey?
He's like, don't do that. You can have the bacon grease.
Yeah. Please stop.
I'm going to be smothered, and not like gravy smothered.
I'm not a burrito. Please stop trying to eat me.
No, he's become Forrest Gump. Jenny, save me, Jenny. Mianchinsky said that must have startled the creature, which he still, in his confusion, thought must be some sort of bear. Mianchinsky clambered out of his collapsed tent and sat near the fire, holding his firearm. I would hope so.
Yeah.
Knowing the beast was still nearby. I started dozing off, he said, and I woke up to the sound of something hitting the ground. Well, yeah, he's pissed off.
Yeah. He's probably beating the crap out of your tent because he thinks that the tent is attacking him.
Yeah. Several more similar sounds followed, and me and Chinsky realized that something was throwing pine cones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's not finished. A pine cone seemed to fall out of the tree, and it landed next to the fire, he said. And then another pine cone, and then another pine cone. And I realized there was no wind blowing. No shit, Sherlock. These cones were not falling out of the tree. They were being lobbed at me from behind this little pine tree. And that went on for about 40 to 45 minutes.
Now I think Bigfoot's just playing with him. You know, like, you ever done that as a kid where you hid behind something where you're in class and you just start throwing something at somebody and they're looking around like, what is that?
That's Bigfoot spitballs.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So he said that was the extent of that experience, me and Chinsky said. It threw pine cones for 45 minutes and then it left.
This guy's boring. Let's go.
He said when he reported the incident to the district ranger for the Shoshone National Forest upon his return, me and Chinsky was told that he was not alone. The Forest Service had received numerous reports that summer of 1972 of strange sightings and occurrences in that section of the forest, similar to his experience. In recent years, though, wildlife agencies like Wyoming Game and Fish are unaware of any sightings of hairy humanoid giants. I've never heard of such a thing, said Corey Class, wildlife supervisor for the Cody Game and Fish Office. But that being said, I don't know. I can only answer based on my time and experience.
It's a great story, though.
Yeah. They go on just to wrap up the article by saying there's yet to be scientific proof that Bigfoot creatures exist, although me and Chinsky can show you the brown stains in his shorts after fighting with the creature.
You know, it's his fault, though. He picked the fight.
Yeah, oh, yeah, completely.
Yeah. I just want to know what was going through his head. Like, maybe he was sleeping and it woke him up. And, Mrs. Bruiser does that to me if I roll into bed and she's sleeping. She rolls over and smacks me.
Does she throw pine cones at you while you're doing this podcast?
No, that hasn't happened yet.
That'd be kind of funny. I would laugh at that.
I would too.
She goes out in the yard, gathers a bunch of pine cones. Her and Ziggy are throwing pine cones at you while you're doing the podcast. That'd be kind of fun. Guess what? Loch Ness can't hide for long. The Loch Ness monster Nessie is going to be found soon.
She is, huh?
Yeah. Evidently, webcams have been installed around Loch Ness. Loch Ness monster has an OnlyFans. I don't think that's the case, but
I would sub to it. Yep.
Would you? You'd subscribe?
Nessie's got me. Yep.
Here's Nessie, all nude and all in the loch.
Yeah.
It's
welcome to my loch, fellas.
Do you have the key for this lock? Wink, wink. I bet you do. It's to catch a glimpse of Nessie. So they've got brand new webcams, 5 of them to be exact. Tourist bosses at Loch Ness have installed webcams around the famous loch to give monster hunters eager to spot Nessie more of a chance. The cameras will film 365 days per year and are located at the Craigdarach Hotel, Drover's Lodge, Shoreland Lodges Fort, Loch Ness Clansman Hotel. That doesn't sound like a friendly one, does it?
That doesn't sound good at all.
No. And Aaron Loch B&B. The live feeds can be viewed online at Visit Inverness Loch Ness website. Michael Golding, CEO at Visit Inverness Loch Ness, said people will be able to watch the iconic loch from anywhere in the world. We're delighted to be able to provide live footage of the beautiful Loch Ness every day of the year, he explained. For people all over the world to watch Loch Ness through the changing seasons and get a glimpse of the beautiful scenery and abundant wildlife is very special. Of course, the webcams will also give Nessie fans another way of spotting our elusive and most popular resident. When viewing Loch Ness, visit the webcams, or via the webcams. I can read real well. VILN recommends looking out for the following. First of all, Nessie. That's the most important. Second of all, Highland cows, because evidently they see Nessie. So you can interview them one-on-one, I guess.
they're aggressive. I wouldn't interview them one-on-one.
Highland cows are?
Yeah, they're known to be very aggressive.
So they'll be fighting. You get a secondary entertainment source.
There you go.
Yeah. 3, birds such as golden eagles, hard for me to say this morning, osprey, Will Osprey will be there evidently fighting the Highland cows, and ptarmigan? Yeah, ptarmigan. 4, deer. Lots of deer.
Lots of deer.
Yeah, lots of deer around there. Different type of trees, such as birch and cherry trees, like you can't see them here in America. But
well, you can't. Yeah. Well, it's on a loch. We don't have lochs here.
True. Northern lights. They get northern lights there.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah, so you'll be able to see those.
Those are very cool to see.
And by the way, they got lots of cruise boats, kayaks, and canal boats, so you can see those as well.
I'm curious now how many people are going to claim they see Nessie and it turns out to just be a wave or a stick or a boat.
Birds.
Birds, yep.
Yep. Chris Taylor visits Scotland's regional leadership director, added Loch Ness is renowned the world over for its most elusive resident, Nessie. But these cameras will also give people from around the world a chance to see how beautiful the loch is and its surroundings are, as well as possibly spotting some local wildlife on or off the water. So there you go. Go ahead.
Either way, it's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Nature lovers are going to love it.
Absolutely. And our last story before break, we're going to the island of Puerto Rico.
Ah.
Bring your Kevlar vest. We're not trying to get stabbed. It's oh no! See, it's a different Bruiser joke. I'm kidding. I rest in peace, Bruiser Brody. I know. I just got that. I got that dirty look from you. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I always joke with my wife that because Bruiser Brody was obviously my idol.
Yeah.
And I says, if I ever get booked in Puerto Rico. And she goes, "You better come home."
You're going to stab the invader? No, I'm kidding.
I can go on for hours on this, but let's just say he sleeps with a gun under his pillow,
he should.
Yeah, he doesn't leave his house. He's yeah.
We're going to talk about the multiple different monsters on the island of Puerto Rico.
Now you don't really put cryptids on Puerto Rico, this is going to be interesting. I have an opportunity. Hopefully, knock on wood, it will happen. It will happen. But I was contacted by a Puerto Rican promoter.
Really?
Yep. For a December show, they're talking it over right now, finances and whatnot. But it will happen. I'm putting the positive out there.
There you go.
So I'm interested to hear what cryptids are out there. So when I do visit the island, I can go wander and look for these.
The main one they talk about is chupacabra. In the mid-1990s, the phenomena of the chupacabra exploded all over Puerto Rico, or all across Puerto Rico. If it exploded all over Puerto Rico, there'd be plenty of meat for everybody. I'm just saying. Nobody would have to go look for beef ever again.
Which is funny, because that's mainly a Southwest Mexican cryptid.
Right. Yeah. So far as can be determined, the menacing creature first surfaced in March of 1995. That was when numerous animals were found slaughtered in the towns of Morovis, located in central Puerto Rico, and I believe it's Orocovis. My apologies to Puerto Rican listeners that are listening right now, which is situated in the aforementioned La Cordillera, I believe it is, Central Mountain Range. Locals were plunged into states of near hysteria by the attacks, which reportedly left animals dead with strange marks on their necks and a distinct lack of blood in their corpses. Since many of their early attacks were on goats, the term chupacabra was created. It means in Spanish, goat sucker. Vampires were on the loose, monstrous vampires. Reports of strange killings soon began to surface from other parts of the island. The creatures were clearly on the move. The death rate increased even more. The population was on edge, and the media had something new and sensational to report on. It was a turbulent and strange time there in the mid-90s. They asked, but what exactly was responsible for all the killings? Yes, there were plenty of dead animals, but unfortunately there was no solid eyewitness testimony relative to the killers themselves. That is until August of 1995, when a woman named Madeline Tolentino, who lived in Canovanas, which is close to the northeast coast of Puerto Rico, changed everything. Tolentino's description of the creature she encountered close to her mother's home was disturbing, to say the very least. It was a description eagerly embraced by the island's media and by investigators of monsters and mysteries. Tolentino told journalists and researchers that the creature was around 3 feet in height, bipedal, ran in a weird hopping fashion, had large black eyes, bony fingers on each hand, overly long arms and legs, and kind of a feathery line running down its back. Or it appeared to Tolentino to be a feathery line. A young boy employed by Tolentino's husband claimed that he saw the beast up close and personal and maintained that the feathers were, in reality, sharp spines. The boy also said that the creature possessed a mouthful of vicious-looking fangs. Not only did the people know of the chupacabra and its predations, they also knew what it looked like, something straight out of their worst nightmares. The legend of the goat sucker had become, it says, I think that's a good way of just saying it was born. But what about the island's other monsters? Well, let's talk about a few of those. The next monster we talk about is, let's see here. Try to get to the heart of the matter here. Is one that had red eyes, bat-like wings, and indeed looked like a giant-sized bat.
Okay.
Let's see. This one was in August 1st of 2013, and this is the actual report from the person. This person says, I was on Puerto Rico to make a show with Gala Film Productions of Canada. It was titled Mysteries at the National Parks. The premise was an intriguing and original one. Each and every episode of the series would focus its attention upon a paranormal mystery tied to a specific U.S. national park. And since Puerto Rico's, I believe it's Yunque National Forest, is the only rainforest in the entire United States National Forest System, the plan was to make a show that focused on its infamous resident vampire. To say that this trip was a brief one is an understatement. I flew out of Dallas-Fort Worth early in the morning of July 31st, caught with barely minutes to spare a connecting flight in Florida, arrived at my San Juan hotel around 8 p.m., was filmed during a downpour of epic proportions in the heart of El Yunque. The following morning, exited the rainforest around noon and flew back to my Arlington, Texas home around 7:30 p.m. that night. In between the end of the filming and the time of my departure, however, I had the good fortune to conduct an interview with a guy whose theories pushed the chupacabra mystery down previously uncharted pathways. There were pathways pathways dominated by nothing less than the world's most infamous hairy wild man, Bigfoot. What does Bigfoot have to do with bat wings?
I was going to say, that's more Jersey Devil area.
Yeah. It goes on to say, I have to say, although I was on Puerto Rico looking for the deadly sucker of goats and of other equally unfortunate animals, it was a welcome and refreshing diversion to find myself on the receiving end of something totally different. Peter was primarily a ghost hunter and paranormal investigator and also was there to be filmed for the world of on-screen entertainment. Originally from Berlin, Germany, he had moved to Puerto Rico to live in 1996. Peter was someone whose accounts of Bigfoot activity on Puerto Rico were as fascinating as they were controversial. Interesting. So he ran into Bigfoot while he was in Puerto Rico. Onto the mocha vampire or maca vampire. If it's mocha, it probably tastes very delicious, but I believe it's the maca vampire. Noted for its fruit industry and cattle farming, Maca is a cool place filled with old and atmospheric buildings and surrounded by amazing forest land and green hills. The municipality was back in the mid-1970s home to something else too, the Maca vampire. It was the most apt title for a creature that caused brief havoc and mayhem in March of 1975. Pigs, goats, chickens, geese, cattle, and even pets were found violently slaughtered, and specifically in the Barrio Roca suburb of Maca. I keep wanting to call it Mocha. I know this as not just the guys on the crew, but numerous locals in Maca itself, too, were happy to reveal all during the course of this guy's first excursion to the island. The bodies of the dead animals were quickly collected by the authorities and were subjected to necropsy, which was said to have demonstrated that at least some of them had been drained of notable amounts of blood. The people of the area, hardly surprisingly, were plunged into states of fear and anxiety. Children were kept indoors at night. Armed police patrolled the streets after sunset. Matters came to a horrific climax when the monster turned its attention away from animals and towards the human population. One of the most traumatic attacks occurred on March 25th when a woman was viciously clawed by what she described as a fearful-looking beast covered in feathers. Then another story surfaced. Utterly petrified by what occurred, the witness reported that late one night in March, a huge winged monster landed on the zinc roof of her Maca home and let loose with an ear-splitting scream. She feared for her life as the mighty thing clanged around loudly in the darkness, only mere feet above her living room. That's right, yet another kind of creature in Puerto Rico. The last one...
That's some nightmare fuel right there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. The last one is alien big cats.
Alien big cats. Okay.
Yeah. Alien big cats. To get down to the long and short of it, it's a large black cat creeping around in a neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah. They're around 4 feet long and muscular. It's believed to have killed and eaten at least 15 pet cats in the area.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, they just use them for, dental floss, I guess. They have savaged a sheep or several and apparently terrified a handful of people who crossed paths with it in the back streets of Rio Piedras late on one particular Saturday night, just like the ABCs everywhere. Alien big cats, they call them ABCs. This one skillfully avoided all attempts to catch or kill it. Still on the matter of additional oddities on the islands, it says here they heard a few sightings of giant reptiles on Puerto Rico as well. They've seen things that look like velociraptors as well on Puerto Rico.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there you go. That's just a rundown of some of the monsters you can find if you happen to travel to Puerto Rico there, Bruiser.
None of them seem pleasant.
No, but hey, you know what? Grab yourself a lasso, bring one back, and,
I'll bring back an alien big cat to play with my cat Bruiser and Ziggy.
There you go. That? Yeah, bring us back a couple of souvenirs from Puerto Rico. Folks, when we come back, we're going to switch it up a little more ghosty on the way back. And some other nightmare fuel. We'll tell you a few ghost stories when you come back. A 3-year-old girl is declared dead and wakes up at her funeral. Then she dies again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is new.
Yeah, we have that story for you. Again, we'll tell you a little bit about Sammy Hagar's dream visitation from Eddie Van Halen. And to wrap up our show, horrible, terrible gangs. Horrible, terrible gangs are on the loose, Bruiser.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint. You want a hint of what these horrible, terrible gangs are?
I have a feeling what we're going with. But yeah, let's give me that hint.
Gangs. It's coming up next. It's a Supernatural News Wednesday right here on the best in paranormal podcasting. It's a Supernatural News Wednesday right here on Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm Tim Dennis. With me is Beer City Bruiser. And Bruiser, there's nothing more heartbreaking than the death of a child.
No parent should ever outlive their child. No parent should ever outlive their child.
The other thing,
very, very sad when I just don't like hearing about children. You know, I know it's life, but it's very sad. And my heart goes out to parents that lose their children.
The only other thing that could be more heartbreaking is to see that child come back to life, think that you have them back.
And then they go again.
And then they go again.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's got to be just devastating.
Yeah, because you got to relive it twice.
Mm-hmm. A 3-year-old girl woke up during her funeral before being officially declared dead after doctors mistakenly presumed her dead the first time.
Come on, doctors. You go to school for millions of years. Get this right.
We're going, I don't see where the headline or byline is on this. We're going, I think, to This is a South American country, I believe, that we're going to. Well, I'll just butcher the names as we go along.
That's okay. You're pretty good with names.
Yeah. Talk to our listeners.
4 names.
A 3-year-old girl woke up during her funeral before officially being declared dead after doctors mistakenly presumed her dead the first time. The family of Camila Roxana Martinez Mendoza is accusing the Salinas del Hidalgo, see, I did it again, Basic Community Hospital of negligence after reportedly declaring the toddler dead too soon. The young girl was experiencing stomach pains, vomiting, and fever when her mother, Mary Jane Mendoza, took her to see a pediatrician in the family's hometown of Villa de Ramos on August 17th. That was according to El Universal newspaper. The doctor escalated the issue and recommended that the child be taken to the hospital in the central Mexican state of San Luis Potosi. There you go.
There we go.
Central Mexico. There you go. To be treated for dehydration. Doctors at Salinas de Hidalgo, I don't know why that's so hard for me to say, Salinas de Hidalgo Basic Community Hospital placed a cold towel over her little body to lower her body temperature and placed a pulse oximeter on one of her fingers to keep track of her oxygen levels. Camilla, I believe it's Camilla, there's no second L, so it's Camilla, was released from the hospital with a prescription for paracetamol, which treats pain and fever, but continued to deteriorate as the day continued. She was seen by another doctor who instructed her mother to feed her fruits and water and prescribed a different medication. I can't imagine a kid could keep that down if they were that sick.
I was going to say, why don't they have her hooked up to IVs? Keep her hydrated.
I don't know. Despite the medications and advice from medical experts, the toddler continued vomiting. Her worried parents took her to see another doctor who suggested she be rushed to the emergency room, which is probably the right advice.
That's where they should have went the first time.
Right. Camilla was readmitted to Salinas between 9 and 10 p.m., and doctors worked to help the young girl. They wanted to give her intravenous therapy. They took a long time to put oxygen on her, her mother said. They didn't put it on her because they couldn't find her little veins. Finally, a nurse managed it. After about 10 minutes, the IV was removed from the little girl, who was then taken away to rest. That I don't get.
I don't get that either. You can rest with the IV in.
Mm-hmm. She was still hugging me. They took her away and told me, you have to let her rest in peace, the grieving mother remembered. Bizarrely, Mendoza was then kept from her ailing daughter in a separate locked room. She was able to get out. Yeah. She was able to get out, but still could not get into the room where her daughter was being kept.
Why would you keep a mother away from a sick child?
I have no idea. Camilla was later declared dead from dehydration. The next day, a funeral viewing was held for friends and family to mourn the beloved toddler when Mendoza noticed the glass window of the coffin fogging up.
Oh.
Yeah. Other funeral attendees told the distraught mother that she must be hallucinating and dissuaded her from opening the coffin. However, Camilla's paternal grandmother reportedly rushed to take a closer look, and she noticed Camilla's eyes moving and shockingly discovered she had a pulse.
And the doctors missed that, huh?
Yep. Camilla was rushed by ambulance back to the Salinas hospital, where doctors unsuccessfully attempted to revive her and declared her dead again, this time from a cerebral edema or brain swelling. That was really where my baby was done. We are devastated because my girl was a very happy person. She got along with everyone. She didn't single anyone out, Mendoza said. We have many people on the ranch who support us because she was cherished. The family was planning to send Camilla to her first day of kindergarten this week.
Oh, that's very sad. They screwed that up medically from the get-go.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV, but come on. Hook her up to the IV, get her rehydrated, get her temperature down.
Yeah. The first death certificate obtained by her parents listed Camilla's cause of death as just dehydration, while the second noted dehydration, cerebral edema, and metabolic failure. What I really want is for justice to be served. I have no grudge against the doctors who went to extreme measures, she said. I only ask that the doctors, nurses, and directors be changed so it does not happen again. The heartbreaking case is being investigated by the San Luis Potosi State Attorney General, Jose Luis Ruiz, who confirmed that an autopsy is underway.
Good. There had to be medical malpractice in there somewhere.
You would think.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that story we talked about at the beginning of the program having to do with Sammy Hagar and Eddie Van Halen. Sammy Hagar believes he wrote a song with Eddie Van Halen in a dream. We've talked about dream visitations before on this program. Sammy Hagar says he wrote a song called Thank You using a guitar lick that Eddie Van Halen showed him in a recent dream. Sammy Hagar told UCR or UltimateClassicRock.com, I shouldn't be typing it now. Nobody knows this, but Michael Anthony, Jason Bonham, and Vic Johnson, who are his band members in the Circle. Mm-hmm. About 2 months ago, I had this dream and Eddie came. We were in a room like this with a bunch of people around. It was just like he'd been gone. It was not like he was passed, but he had just been out of my life and we hadn't seen each other for a while. He was going, man, let's write some music. I said, yeah, F it, man. Here, let's go. Hagar says they went into a corner in this room. He had a guitar and he played me this thing. It was like this lick, just like the last lick that Eddie Van Halen showed me when I went back for the 2004 reunion tour and when he was a mess. I said, Eddie, show me your newest shit. Because every time I'd be around him, I'd say, show me your newest shit. And he'd say, oh, check this out. In the dream, he did this harmonic thing and he slid up to a chord like a slide guitar. We wrote a song with that lick, Hagar says. I remembered it. I got up in the morning and I wrote the song. It's called Thank You. I used the effing lick that he showed me with that song. In that song, I told Jason, I just really don't know what to say lyrically. I've got goosebumps head to toe talking about it. So I wrote it about that experience, and we'll do that song someday. Thank You came together too late for inclusion on his upcoming Crazy Times album, but when it does arrive, Hagar intends to share the songwriting credit with his former bandmate. He says, now that's going to be an Eddie-influenced song to the point that I'm going to co-write it with him. I'm going to give him credit, and then maybe we'll donate the money to charity or whatever, Hagar says. You see, I feel so embarrassed about it because everyone's going to say, oh, look at Sammy trying to capitalize on Eddie. No, I'm not. You don't understand. That was a real effing dream. And I told you exactly what happened in it. Crazy Times, which is Hagar's second album with The Circle, arrives on September 30th. The title track and a cover of Elvis Costello's Pump It Up, which is already out now, has been released. The band is currently touring the U.S. with support from George Thorogood.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. And if he wants to give Eddie credit, he can give Eddie credit.
He can go one step further than that. Eddie had a favorite music charity that he that he was adamant about. Okay. And if he really wants to do this right, he can record it with the Circle. And he can donate 100% of the proceeds, the profits, whatever you want to call it, to Eddie's favorite charity. And do it in his memory.
He said he wanted to donate it to charity, so why not do it to Eddie's? Yeah. And you can do it in Eddie's name, too.
And the charity actually buys instruments for schools. So,
okay. Yeah. Which is, I was shocked to find out that's a program that's needed. I thought schools had a plethora of instruments or whatnot. It turns out they're always looking for instruments. Mm-hmm.
Eddie was huge into getting instruments into schools and getting music programs funded for schools.
That was the Keep the Music Alive campaign for a little bit, if I remember.
No, it was Mr. Opus's... on
Robert, what's his name? The movie. Mr. Opus.
Yeah, it was named
Mr. Holland's Opus or whatever.
Yeah, Mr. Holland's Opus something or another. But that was the name of the charity, and that was the one that was the one that Eddie was behind.
Okay.
So yeah, and he donated millions to that charity.
So it just makes sense for Sammy to do that. And I don't. Why do people need to criticize it? Like, if it is a money grab, which I don't think it is, the money's going to charity. Mm-hmm. Why are we getting upset that we're helping people?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of negative comments in the, you know what? I hate to highlight the negativity in here, but let me see if I can get to the comments section.
I bet it's because they don't understand dream visitation, or they never had that, or, you know, which is a real thing. Anybody that's lost somebody close to them, you know, that's a way of them visiting you, is dream visitation.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
let's see here. Besides,
I don't understand the negative. Like he even said in that, you know, the statement, we will do it for charity.
I think ultimateclassicrock.com wiped out the negative comments, because all it is just ads now. But there were people in there going, oh, Sammy, it's a money grab. It's this, it's that. Oh, Sammy's just looking to cash in again on Van Halen. And
see, it would be great if you got Wolfie involved in it. Have Wolfie play his dad's music. You know,
but here's the thing. I'll give Wolfgang credit for this. And I think a lot of people don't understand where he's coming from. And, but I do. Wolfgang is carving his own legacy.
Right. He's got Mammoth WVH, which I didn't know was him.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a big fan of them.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was him till I saw an ad that they were coming close to where I am.
Yeah. Well,
and he was there front and center. I'm like, whoa,
it's him. Wolfie. It's him and other players in concert, but it's just him in studio.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of like when Prince in some of his albums, it was just him in studio, and other times he had the Revolution, or he had, he had the New Power Generation, or whoever helping him in studio. Some Prince albums were just recorded by him. And this last solo album, it was just Wolfgang recording all the instruments. That's why it took a long time. Eddie fortunately got to hear the album, and he was Wolfgang's biggest champion behind the album.
He should be. You know?
And he not just from a proud dad standpoint, he really did think the album was amazing.
Okay.
And he did get to hear the tribute song to Eddie before Eddie died. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I guess the tears were flowing when he heard it.
Yeah, I bet.
So the idea that Wolfgang has here is this. He's always said Alex is the administrator of Van Halen now.
Yeah.
That it's not necessarily him. He'll weigh in, he'll give his opinion. Alex makes the moves with Van Halen.
But I think Wolfie performing with Sammy in honor of Eddie is where I'm thinking. I'm not necessarily thinking the Van Halen link. You know, yeah, they're both members of Van Halen.
Well, now you might have seen the story about the Van Halen reunion one-off. It was supposed to be a one-off. It wasn't supposed to be a tour.
Yeah.
Wolfgang had no presence in that.
He didn't? Okay.
No, he helped make decisions along with Alex.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be Jason Newsted on bass. It wasn't him. And the idea was that Michael Anthony might possibly come in to be a second bassist.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, but it wasn't him. He wasn't going to play bass on it. His idea is that, you know what, my time in Van Halen is done.
Yeah.
And I get the idea in the latest story that came out with it, because the idea was that David Lee Roth was going to come back, and they wanted to try and get Dave and Sammy. But Dave and Sammy's, famously don't get along.
They don't like each other at all.
David Lee Roth made some insane suggestion that it should be David Lee Roth and Pink who did the vocals for a reunion. And I think a lot of people rolled their eyes at that.
Yeah, that's a money grab to me.
Yeah. And Joe Satriani was supposed to be on guitar, and then they were suggesting maybe a second guitarist. I think John Five would have been an amazing guitarist for that reunion. But they had other suggestions too, as far as other guitarists that would have come in. But Wolfgang's stance on that is this. And he was asked, well, how come it didn't come together? And he said, well, I don't have an answer for you, and I won't give you an answer, but I'll just say this. Look at the history of Van Halen, and that will tell you why this didn't come together.
That's true.
And, for all intents and purposes, it didn't come together because Dave is dragging his feet.
Yeah.
So, and he's trying to make decisions that don't make any sense,
Which he's notorious for doing.
Yeah. But in the end, it's not Dave's decision to make. It's Alex's decision to make.
Right.
Alex is the shot caller in Van Halen. And that's what Wolfgang has said all along. Wolfgang is saying, I have my career. My career is Mammoth WVH.
Yeah.
And I'm moving forward. And that's what his dad wanted for him.
Yeah, I'm sure any parent wants their child. Well, any parent wants their child to create their own legacy. But like when you're in the entertainment industry, you get pigeonholed into whatever your father did. And your father, wants you to do your own thing. And
a lot of people don't. Well, a lot of people should know this because he said it repeatedly in interviews now. But Eddie wanted him to release the album earlier than what he did. He held off on releasing the Mammoth WVH album because he wanted to spend Eddie's last years with him. It should have come out. Which
makes perfect sense.
It should have come out 2 to 3 years earlier. It was ready. But he wanted to spend those last years with Eddie because they were so close.
Which no one's going to fault him for.
No.
If your father's terminally ill, like, you spend as much time as you can with them. So,
kudos to him that he recognized that there's some things more important in life than pursuing, even though it's your love and your career and what you eventually need to build and want to build. There's nothing that replaces the love of your parents and the love of family.
Now, has Wolfgang commented on Sammy's comments or no?
This story just came out. It just came out.
Okay,
yesterday.
So it's going to be a while because they're going to ask him about it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'll comment on it. I don't
think so either because it's not like Sammy's doing anything bad to the Eddie Van Halen image or name. It's literally he was visited by a friend in his dream. They did what they did in the past when things were good.
Mm-hmm.
And he's taken what he dreamt about, what he believes was given to him by Eddie, and he's making it so we all can enjoy it.
I think
so we all can enjoy Eddie one last time.
The most correct way that Wolfgang can come out and talk about this is just to say, I'm glad Sammy is inspired by my father.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that he came up with music that's inspired by my father, and I can't wait to hear it.
If you always hear about someone passes away and there's always lost music. Kurt Cobain passed away and there's music Nirvana hasn't released. Wayne Static with Static X passes away and they found all this undiscovered sound of, the music that they could release this new album, which is a great album. This is just a different version of that, I think.
Well, there are tapes and tapes and tapes at 5150.
Right.
But as Wolfgang said, I'm not going to go into that vault and start baking tapes and start producing lost Van Halen tapes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend my formative creative years doing that, nor would my dad want me to sit here and do that.
Right.
That's not what this is about. And I won't be doing that anytime soon. You won't see lost Van Halen albums coming out anytime soon.
Which is good.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for the Sammy music. I'm curious,
Yeah.
And I people judging him just because it was a dream visitation and you don't believe in that. That's fine. You don't have to believe in it. Nowhere did Sammy say, this is what happened. You have to believe me no matter what. He just said, I saw my friend in a dream. We riffed. It got stuck in my head. I'm going to write it for him.
Yeah. I think if you took one of the producers that Eddie really trusted and brought them in to start baking tapes and going through some of that music and producing it and then running it through Wolfgang for his approval and through Alex, it'd be nice to see some of that stuff come out. But I don't think Wolfgang has to touch it in order for it to come out.
No, it's going to be 100% Alex would want to do it.
Right. But you have to remember, too, that Eddie was never a solo artist. He never created his music to be released as solo guitar instrumental music.
Right.
it was always meant for lyrics.
Yeah.
So you would have to either figure out if you're going to bring Dave back, or if you're going to bring Sammy back, or if you're going to, like we pointed out before, Gary Sharon, Mitch Malloy, if you're going to bring back an all-star cast of vocalists.
I just don't see it. I think Wolfgang's got the right idea.
Yeah. So until then, it sits in a vault, and a lot of that stuff is kind of half finished, and maybe that's the way it should be.
Yeah. Agreed.
It just should be there. Interesting stuff, though. Interesting stuff. Let's move on, shall we?
Yes.
You know how we say time flies, and we've talked about time travel and how. You know what? Let's talk about ghost stories first before we talk about time travel. Let's read a few more of these ghost stories that'll send shivers down your spine. We read a few of them last week. Let's see here. We want to read a few of them this week for you as well. Let's
get creepy.
Yeah, let's get creepy. Let's read a few of them here. The boy with no eyes.
Oh,
yeah,
like a black-eyed kid.
I don't think it's a black-eyed kid.
Yeah.
One night when I was 10, I was woken up by my bedroom door opening. I was followed by someone sitting on my bed. Yeah.
Ooh.
Woken up by my bedroom door opening, followed by someone sitting on my bed. Reddit.com user K Mendo4 recalls of a childhood brush with a very persistent ghostly apparition. I felt my leg grazed and the bed sink under a person's weight. It's just mom, I thought. And I opened my eyes. It was not my mom. I found an eyeless boy. He had black, empty sockets.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah. About my age, sitting at the foot of my bed. He extended his hand, and in it was a little box. I was startled, but reached out. He pulled back. I reached again and said, "Give it." Then I blinked, and when I reopened my eyes, he was gone. But I could still see the imprint where he had sat on my bed. Fast forward 5 years, my girlfriend came over to do some homework. After she finished, she took a nap while she waited for her parents. When they arrived, I tried waking her up. She opened her eyes suddenly, looking up at a corner where the wall met the ceiling. She pointed there and went back to sleep. I shook her again, and she came to full consciousness, and I explained what she'd done. She looked haunted. Up on the wall, I saw a little boy with no eyes. He was there, in a Spider-Man pose, staring at me. I freaked out, and I told her my story about the same kid. Fast forward another 5 years. I was with the same girlfriend, and we had a 2-year-old. We were living in my parents' house, in my old room. Oh, that had to be romantic. Way to score the points there, buddy.
Yeah.
My daughter started waking up at the same time every night, and she'd talk. After a while, I noticed she had almost the same conversation every night. I playfully asked her whom she was talking to. She said, "It's a little boy. He's nice. He's lost, and he's looking for his mommy." My daughter's nightly conversations continued until we got our own place later that year. Interesting. So she was talking to the little boy as well.
Yeah.
And then he took her soul.
I'm wondering. Yeah, then he took her. That's what the box was.
Yeah. Yep. Now you got me thinking of Alice in Chains. There's a soul in a box.
Man in a box. Mm. But he can be sold too.
Yeah. What were you going to say? I'm sorry. I cut you off.
The empty eye sockets. It usually means something, doesn't it? I thought that meant they saw something in there.
Maybe he was offering his soul in a box. That's why I was singing that song there, Bruiser. Got to put
the eyes are the windows to the soul. You're
That's right. See, you got to put two and two together, my friend.
There it is.
Yeah.
He was giving the child a soul.
Yeah. Here's the second story. The Red Lady of Huntingdon College. This sounds like a recruitment video. The Red Lady of Huntingdon College. It's in Montgomery, Alabama. Here's a story that dates back to 1910, but almost any student at Huntingdon College in Montgomery, Alabama should recognize it. That's because the events that led up to it are said to have actually happened. As the story goes, in 1910, a young woman who was new to the school was known for her love of the color red. Sadly, she was also known for being strange and a loner. As the first term got underway, the young woman grew increasingly isolated. Eventually, she took her life by slashing her wrists. Her body was discovered in a red gown drenched in blood.
Ooh.
Yikes. From then on, students and faculty have been reporting sightings of a young woman dressed in all red. She appeared all around the college's campus. The figure dwelling in perpetual isolation is often cited as a reminder of the importance of being kind to one's peers. Well, that's a hell of a lesson. Now that you've read one about, it says, now read this story. Huntington College is just one of the many haunted colleges in America, each with its own ghost stories. You ready for this next true tale for the Ashley Street ghost?
Oh, definitely.
Next true tale comes from the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. I think this one is just being haunted since Bo Schembechler wasn't around. Yeah. The haunting happened in 1972 at a party hosted by University of Michigan students living on Ashley Street. A 15-year-old girl who probably had no business being there in the first place suddenly felt a strange bone-chilling cold, according to the Michigan Daily. In an attempt to warm up, she went upstairs because heat rises, we guess. That's when things really went awry. One of the walls of the house started moving, and a black shadow approached the girl. Meanwhile, downstairs, posters were spontaneously popping off the walls and falling into a growing pile on the floor. The girl wandered back downstairs, where she found herself saying these strange words. "The drugs and addiction were my fault, and I accept responsibility for that. But I was not that way deep down inside. I want to apologize to everyone involved for what I've done." Those are weird words.
That's creepy.
Yeah. What made those words even stranger was that the girl did not do any drugs, let alone have an addiction.
That's really creepy.
Yeah. Her words didn't seem all that strange to the students who lived in the house. Before they moved in, the house had been inhabited by a man with a very serious addiction. The reason he no longer lived there, he had died of a heroin overdose.
Okay. He possessed her, probably.
It might have been a walk-in, yeah.
Yeah.
Has the ghost of Ashley Street made any more appearances? That remains a mystery.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's 3 more stories for you. We'll continue doing this on the next few episodes.
I love these. These are great because you get to hear these little urban legends. I know the lady in the red dress, the TV show Supernatural covered that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. They go a little more, entertaining with it, but it's along the same lines of what the story was you just read.
There you go. So I mentioned before, time flies. Sometimes we think that time speeds up, or it feels like time speeds up, or that it feels like the days are getting faster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We wonder why that happens.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that science may have an answer.
They do. Okay.
Okay.
What do the nerds got for us today?
What do the nerds got for us?
Well, Cruiser and Bruiser, here's what we discovered today.
This sounds like an episode from How to Revenge of the Nerds. Nerds. So it turns out that time may fly when your heart rate increases. So changes to sympathetic nerve system influence how quickly we experience the passage of time. How, you may ask? Well, it could be a shock to the system.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Here's how we may know or not.
Yeah.
We're all familiar with the experience of time flying and dragging. Now, scientists have found that our sense of how quickly time is passing is partly caused by changes in our bodies. They found that that greater activity of the sympathetic nerve system, or SNS, i.e. increased heart rate and increased electricity conductance, had a small but significant effect on the feeling of time passing more quickly. It's thought to be the first time that these objective measures of physiological arousal have been studied in relation to time perception. Researchers asked 67 people to complete a normal day's activities while wearing sensors that measured how their sympathetic nerve system was behaving. They wore a heart rate monitor as well as a skin sensor that measured minute changes in the skin's conductance of electricity caused by the activity of the sweat glands. The participants were asked to report hourly how fast or slowly they felt the last 60 minutes had gone by compared to normal.
Okay.
Okay.
This is making sense for a couple things.
Mm-hmm. The researchers then analyzed the participants' biological data together with their subjective reports. Studies have generally demonstrated that boredom, social isolation, and stress are associated with a slowing of the passage of time, whereas greater social satisfaction and how stress are associated with time passes more quickly, they wrote in their research paper. On the basis of these findings, it is often assumed that changes in physiological arousal, which often accompany fluctuations of self-reported emotions, play an important role in time distortion. But to date, this interference has not been tested during real-world activity using objective measures of physiological arousal. Lead author of the study, Dr. Ruth Ogden from Liverpool, John Moores University, said the results show for the first time that increases in SNS activity can significantly speed up our subjective experience of time. Being aroused really does make time pass more quickly. When an individual experiences a significant increase in heart rate or skin conductance, this can make time seem like it is passing up to 10% faster. While this is a relatively small effect, it may be due to the participants having quite normal days. If they'd have been experiencing more highs and lows, it's likely the effect would have been greater, and there is thought to be an evolutionary benefit behind this, she explained. The work I've done in the lab using electric shocks and other other aversive stimuli has shown much larger effects of SNS activity on time experience, said Dr. Ogden, whose findings are published in the journal Nature Scientific Reports. When we think about why humans would experience distortion to time, one idea is that there is some sort of evolutionary benefit to having flexible timing system. Think back to being a caveman. Having extra time may have provided some survival advantage. Assuming this evolutionary survival account is correct, then it wouldn't make sense to have a timing system that waxed and waned with every small change in arousal. Instead, it would need to be a system which reacted to large changes such as fight or flight. In our study, participants were mainly students going about their normal daily lives. They really weren't that many life or death situations, and maybe this limited the role of arousal and time experience. We are testing this idea at the moment using a VR environment in which participants are exposed to significant virtual threat. That's the sense that time is passing quicker or slower than it really is can have significant effects on people's well-being, the researchers said. Feeling as though we do not have enough time is linked to lower life satisfaction, poor health outcomes, and risky decision-making, they said. While for medical patients and the elderly, distortions to time are associated with distress, symptom exacerbation, that's a word, and impaired social interaction. So that's why the older you get, the faster time moves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether it's the thought of giving a presentation at an important office meeting or getting frustrated sitting in a line of traffic, stress has become an unwelcome part of everyday life. They say a simple breathing technique could help calm the nerves in seconds by fooling the body into thinking it is relaxed.
So that explains a lot. Like Sunday in my match, so we have I'm going to talk wrestling, but
yeah, go ahead.
For the fans that don't know, you have a time limit. Your promoter gives you a time limit for your match or your segment. And on Sunday they always give you 2-minute increments. So it's between 8 and 10 minutes. So we have to go out and we have to do what we have to do between 8 and 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And we're out there and we're going. And all of a sudden, we get to the middle part of the match, and then the referee comes up and goes, "Hey, 4 minutes left." It's like, what? Like, where did all this time go? Like, huh? And then it felt like 30 seconds. He goes, "Hey, you got 1 minute left." But it makes sense because my heart rate was up. I was tired from traveling.
Yep.
Obviously the sweat, the adrenaline was going. Wrestling in front of 1,100 fans, and they're going crazy and all that. Like, all that stuff she was saying kind of makes sense of why it felt like time was going extremely fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Your heart rate's elevated, your excitement level's up, you're blown. Yeah. Were you blown up in that match?
No. That's what was so weird is towards the end of a match, I mean, you're doing a lot of physical stuff. So you get blown up, you get winded. And I was in a good place, we were having a great match, and it was just, time just went. It was insane.
Huh.
But after hearing this study, it's like, I go back now and I'm thinking of all the times where I'm like, wow, that really went really fast. Everything she said about the heart rate and the body and all that all makes sense.
There you go.
Yeah.
Interesting. See?
Blows my mind. Look at that. You blew my mind, Cruiser. You blew my mind today.
Well, I try. I got at least one thing I got going for me today, if anything. 2 more stories left here for Supernatural News Wednesday. We're going to Ireland.
Okay. I like Ireland.
One more cryptid story for you today. As Irish paranormal investigators might have photographed a legendary shapeshifter.
Really? Oh, I like shapeshifters.
It's the Puca.
I've heard of the Puca.
Yeah. It's asking in this article, can you see the Puca in these photos from Lackeen Castle in Tipperary? Is that how it is? Shared by the Paranormal Supernatural Investigations Ireland. They had to put both paranormal and supernatural in there. They had to really...
they're solidifying that.
Yeah.
Hey,
had to fire it home, I guess.
We deal in this.
Yeah. In Irish folklore, the Puca resides here, Paranormal Supernatural Investigations Ireland. So it's PSII, Pissy.
That's such an Irish name.
Aye, that it is. What a bit pissy over here.
Aye, we're getting a little pissy.
Aye, that we are. Said in a social media post with their photos taken at Lackeen Castle in Tipperary. Huh. We investigated here last night. Here's the first bit of footage we captured here, the group said, when sharing the eerie photos of what appears to show a face peeking out from behind a centuries-old wall at the castle. Let's see, do I see a face? I don't really see. Half the time I'm look at these photos, I don't see what they're seeing.
Yeah.
And again, I don't see what they're seeing. Some of the group's followers attributed the face to the Puca, a legendary shapeshifter that can take the form of a horse, dog, rabbit, goat, goblin, or even an old man. That's pretty wide. Wide
they
variety.
Cover all the bases with the Puca.
Yeah. A member of the group replied to one comment saying, like all our evidence that we get, we never state on the post first of what we see as what we do not want to contaminate people's perception or thoughts. This castle is obviously active in spiritual terms. The group told the Irish Sun that there is a significant amount of folklore and paranormal activity connected to the Lackeen Castle, with many local legends featuring stories of the Puca. One popular legend begins with a group of hags. Oh, they found all my ex-girlfriends from college, did they?
I was to say, hey, look, my ex-wife.
They all got together in a little sorority over there in Ireland, who were stealing a dead body near the castle. A member of the O'Kennedy family who lived in the castle caught them in the act and confronted them, only for the Puca to appear and defend the hags. He's looking to get some, I guess.
Those are his hags.
That's right. However, O'Kennedy captured the creature and took it back to the castle, where his servants begged him to release it, lest the castle be haunted by a terrible curse. After promising to never hurt any member of the O'Kennedy family, the Puca was released, the group explained. However, the creature can still reportedly be seen roaming the grounds of Lackeen Castle. We as a group believe folklore and history play a massive part in our research before we investigate places like Lackeen Castle, the group went on to say. So there you go. So Bruiser, I'm gonna hold this up here for you, and you tell me if you see anything in these two pictures. Because, honest to God, brother, I don't see a thing in these.
On the left, I see one.
Do you?
Yeah, it looks like it's got its mouth open with its eyes wide open. Okay. But on the right...
Oh, wait. Okay.
I kind of see it on the right, but the left one, I do see something.
You do? Okay, let me look here.
But I'm also looking through a webcam, so...
Yeah, that's true.
That could just be something that's naturally there, and it's being distorted between your iPad to the webcam to my web. You know what I mean?
I guess if you look in between the far right bar, it can be...
Do you see that where it looks like its eyes are wide open and its mouth is wide open?
Kinda. I mean, I can see pareidolia where you think there might be something there, but it looks like a Jason Hockey mask.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing. But I see a wide open mouth too. So
See, I don't see a wide open mouth.
okay.
I see what looks like an eye hole and like a mask covering, like a mask opening for a nose and mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know that that's anything.
It could also, like I said, I'm looking through, a picture online on your iPad through the webcam.
I'm trying to show you through a shitty video. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll look it up later and see what I can find.
Okay. Yeah, and you know what? I'll send you
pictures.
I'll try to send you the link over Messenger. You know what? I can do. What am I doing here? Hold on a second here.
Technology.
I'm like, I can try to send you it later by snail mail.
Will you fax it to me, please?
I'll fax it to you. And well, Jesus, hold on a second here. While we're talking, I'll send it over to you, and you can just tell me yay or nay.
I went down a rabbit hole the other day of looking at pictures. I belong to a few groups on Facebook, and there was one where it looked like, at first, it just looked like they took a picture of a tree. But then as you look a little bit more, you can see a face staring out at them. It was really cool. So I kind of got sucked down that rabbit hole.
Huh.
Just, debunking pictures.
Yeah.
Which I'm weird. I like doing that. I think it's great.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when you kind of go through everything, I just sent it over to you, so you can take a look at that while I grab our next story here. Our final story today, you tell me when you get a look there and tell me what you see there, if you see anything. Because when you look...
I see what you're saying about it looks like a hockey mask. It does. It looks like a mask, and then now that it's a little more clear, it looks like it's got like spiked hair almost on top, like real faint.
But you see where it could be pareidolia too.
I see that too, because there's a lot of debris around where that is. And on the right, they got that big, like it's a gray wall, and it looks like they plastered part of the wall, and that could be adding to the effect of what we're seeing.
Yeah. To me, it just all looks like chip plaster.
It does. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. But I can see too how they think it's a face. Like, this is a very good picture that people could debate on for hours. This is a very good conversation starter.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the logical mind looks at it and goes, I don't know what you're looking at. But then the people who are looking for something could go, I see it. It's plain as day. It's right there.
Because yes, it does look like a head and a face. But then when you break it down like you and I did, well, this wall is decrepit. There's litter right here. There's a bar right in front of it.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And finally today, Bruiser, if you're in British Columbia, up there in Canada, you are in trouble, my friend. Sure, it may be paranormally unusual, but it's a very real threat. And I'm talking about this. That's right, man. Gangs of them roaming the countryside in Canada. They're not just for dinner anymore on Thanksgiving.
Why?
They're wearing little leather jackets. They're riding little tiny motorcycles. They're out there going... Oh, sure, Les Nessman might have dropped them frozen out of helicopters. But that doesn't mean they're any less dangerous. Gangs of turkeys, Bruiser, are attacking a British Columbia man. They broke both his hips and a finger.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. If anybody's ever seen a gang of turkeys and how they attack.
They're mean.
They are, but they start by circling. Like, they will just walk in circles.
And snapping.
Exactly. Like, when you said the gang and then you played that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see them doing the West Side Story as they circle.
Because when you're a jet all the way, baby.
Then one pokes his head in and hits you, and then back in the circle. And
That's right.
Another one jumps in you and back in the circle. Like, where's it coming from? Who's going to hit you?
The Royal Canadian Mounted Police, who still claim Dudley Do-Right as their hero, told the birds are scheduled to receive the death penalty for their crimes.
Okay.
They're going to be delicious with mashed potatoes. And
do they celebrate Thanksgiving in Canada?
They do have their own Thanksgiving.
Okay.
It's just not on the same day as ours. They're weird that way.
They are.
Yeah, they don't have Christmas. They have Boxing Day where everybody puts on gloves and punches each other out. Then they all eat poutine and yeah.
I got in trouble one time because on Boxing Day I sent my Canadian friend a box. Happy Boxing Day. He opened it up. He's like, "There's nothing in here." I go, "I know, it's a box, man. It's Boxing Day."
Boxing Day, duh.
And because he's Canadian, he's like, "Ah, thanks, eh?
Thanks, eh? You're the best, you know." That's really sweet, eh? A Shuswap man was seriously injured after being attacked by a rooster and turkeys.
So the rooster was the leader.
They have a leader. On July 28th, Chase RCMP was asked to check on the well-being of someone at a home in Celista rather. I'm giving it too many syllables. Upon arrival, they found a man who had been attacked by some angry birds. And we're not talking about the video game. The man had already received medical attention, thank God.
That was probably the medic turkey.
Yeah, the medic turkey comes along. "Are you okay, sir? Are you okay? We're worried about you." He's trying to put together a splint for his hip, but it doesn't have any fingers. He just is flapping his wings.
I'll have to send you a great video of Mrs. Bruiser interacting with some turkeys. It's fantastic.
Is it?
In Arizona, my parents' neighbors, they owned it looked like a turkey farm. And when they were on vacation, my father had to go over and feed them. So we went over with them, and you go into their pen to feed them and stuff. And she wasn't okay with it. So she's right outside before she knew we had to go in, she's standing outside the fence and she's yelling at them and gobbling, and they're interacting with her because that's what turkeys do.
They think she can talk to them.
So she's like challenging them and, "You're going to man up, turkey." And they're all,
she went Briscoes on them.
And she's ready to go. And then my dad goes, "Oh, well, now it's time to feed him." She's like, "Okay, where do I put the food?" He's like, "You got to walk in there and put it in there." And she went, "What?" So I have this video of just her realizing now she just pissed off a whole bunch of turkeys. Now you got to go in their domain.
She just talks shit to turkeys. Now she's got to face them. Nice. Nice. You always got to you got to talk sweet because you're going to have to eat your words.
Exactly.
Even if they're in turkey language.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of these. I wonder what that means in Turkey.
It means bring it, bitch.
Probably. It means I'm gonna break them hips one way or another.
Break your fingers and hips, man.
Yeah. His injuries included 2 broken hips, broken finger, multiple lacerations. Police were told that the birds in question have already been scheduled to receive the death penalty for their crimes. It's not known if implicated turkeys will be served at the Thanksgiving dinner. Yay!
Yay!
Yay! Delicious with mashed potatoes, a little bit of stuffing. Do you do the traditional cranberries or cranberry sauce out of the can?
I don't like cranberries.
No?
No, I'm not a fan.
No?
No, but my family historically was always out of the can.
I am a fan of the jellied out of the can, although my grandmother God rest her soul, used to make the best fresh cranberries.
Yeah, my family was, because my brother, my sister, and I, we didn't like it. Only my dad liked it. So my mom's like, "Why put all this effort in?" There, it's out of the can. We're a stuffing family. And my mother-in-law makes the best stuffing. She puts some oysters in it. To die for.
Oh yeah. Most definitely. Folks, while we got you on the line here, before we let you go, I got one reminder for you. Normally at this point I turn to Bruiser and I say, "What you got going on for the weekend?" We will ask him what he's got going on for the weekend, but I got one thing for you for the weekend. Normally on Thursday I tell you to take care of yourself and each other and to do somebody a favor this weekend, make the world a little bit better place. I got something I want you to do this weekend that has to do with all of us. 12:30 on Saturday afternoon on Fight TV is a special that is free to watch. But you can also make a donation. I got, and I was surprised that I actually got this press release yesterday because I didn't realize we were on their radar, but we're on their radar, Bruiser.
Okay. Well, I know the social media guy over there. He's a real good guy.
Evidently, we're on Conrad Thompson's radar as well.
Oh, okay. Well, hello, Conrad. I've met you a few times. Very nice guy.
But Ad Free Shows is putting on a special 1 hour, a 1 hour special. It's a fundraiser for Steve Mongo McMichael. And
who is suffering from ALS. So please donate. And
he's in kind of a bad way right now, and they're looking to raise some money for Steve Mongo McMichael. Basically, he's got a lot of medical bills. All of his money has been spent towards those medical bills, and they're looking to raise some money to help out Steve Mongo McMichael. And I know if you're not a wrestling fan, you might have been a fan of the '85 Chicago Bears. You might have been a fan of his as far as football goes. But Steve
he also
Mongo
owned an amazing restaurant in Chicago before he got diagnosed. Yeah.
Yep. He had an amazing restaurant in Chicago. He's really provided a lot of entertainment, a lot of good food for people, and really given back to communities left and right. And we want to give back to him if we can. So 12:30, Fight TV. The app is available either on your phone. It's available on Apple TV. It's available on Roku. And it's a free show. So all you got to do is just dial up Fight TV and order it. And even if you choose not to donate, it's a free show. You can watch it. Yeah. Although I don't know why you wouldn't give $1, $5, $10, whatever, to help out Steve Mongo McMichael. And
Fight TV is a great app. It's got pro wrestling. It's got bare knuckle fighting. It's got boxing. It's got MMA. It's got pillow fighting. It's got slap fighting. It's got so much stuff. And to do something free to help somebody is a great cause that Fight TV is doing. And Conrad too.
Yeah. And Conrad as well. And Conrad really he's bringing out the stars. Ric Flair will be there.
That's his father-in-law, so it makes sense.
Jeff Jarrett will be there. You'll have other stars as well that will talk about the good old days in WCW with Steve Mongo McMichael. I believe you'll have some of the Chicago Bears that'll be there. Some other people that have worked with Steve Mongo McMichael as well. Yeah, that will be there to just kind of sing Mongo's praises. And they'll have some video packages as well. It's not a eulogy, folks. It's far from that. It's just paying tribute to a wonderful man.
Let me say how good of a guy he is. Mm-hmm. So he is as sick as he is. And if anybody's ever seen pictures of him, he is skin and bones right now, hooked up to machines. There's a wrestling company that's doing a fundraiser for a charity that he supports. He is trying to medically get himself to make an appearance at the show and wants to donate his money to the charity. Wow. Because he believes in it so much. He is as sick as he is. And instead of thinking about himself, he's willing to drive. It's in La Crosse, Wisconsin, so however far it is from Chicago to La Crosse. But when they announced him, people are like, "How could you do this? He's sick. He's doing this." And the promoter says, "Look, he contacted us. Mm-hmm. This is his charity, his favorite charity. He wants to donate. He wants to do what he can. If he can medically make it, he will. He's not taking a payday. He's donating everything." And to me, that's just a great guy. He's in the struggle of his life right now, and he's still thinking about others and helping others. And that's just a true good person.
Yeah. If you don't want to watch the show, if you got other things going on Saturday, it's something you can't sit down and watch, just go to moneyformongo.com and you can donate. You can donate separately. You don't have to necessarily take the time to watch the special if you don't have the time to watch the special. But again, just give back to a guy who's given back to the community, who, like Bruiser said, is really going above and beyond, even when he's in his own sick bed right now, and struggling to get out to help other people. I mentioned some of the people that'll be there: Nature Boy Ric Flair, Eric Bischoff, Jeff Jarrett, Jim Ross, Mick Foley, Tony Schiavone is going to be there as well. Pardon me, my stomach is talking back to you. It's hosted by Conrad Thompson. It's going to be a good show. So it's available exclusively on fight.tv. Folks, just if you got the time, go ahead and watch the show. If not, moneyformongo.com, and $1, $5, $10, whatever you got. Just help out Mongo.
Exactly.
Yeah. one good deed. It's something I'm going to do this weekend.
I am.
Yeah. Just throw a few bucks Mongo's way. And
I won't be able to watch it because I'll be on the road, but I am going to donate.
Yeah. Yep.
Just because he's entertained me through the years, because my father, grew up in Chicago, and 85 Bears were his team. Walter Payton, Mike McMichael, Richard Dent, Jim McMahon, Mike Singletary. Like that was the team. Even though I grew up in Wisconsin and I'm a Packers fan, my dad always pounded in like, hey, this is a team,
Yeah.
And that's how I got to know him. And then obviously being a wrestling fan, when he came into WCW and joined the legendary Four Horsemen, I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yep. I was a Vikings fan who absolutely loved Walter Payton, and I cried tears of joy when Walter Payton got his ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'll forever remember that team. So that money for Mongo.com, go ahead and help them out this weekend. Make that, if you are looking, if you need some direction, when I say help someone this weekend, you need a direction. There's a direction you can go in if you choose.
Yep.
So that'll do it for today. Bruiser, real quick before we leave people, what you got going on this weekend?
I'm in Dunlap, Tennessee this weekend for Square One Pro Wrestling. And then the wife's coming with me, and we're going to make a great Labor Day holiday out of it.
There you go. I think I mentioned yesterday I'm going to try to head out and see Diana Ross on Saturday over at the Minnesota State Fair. Sunday, I might sit my behind in front of the TV and watch All Out.
Oh, that is Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, AEW.
I'll probably be at Dollywood.
There you go. Being at Dollywood, enjoying the legacy that is Dolly Parton. So
yes,
yeah, sounds like a good weekend. But and then Monday, of course, is Labor Day, and you may be thinking, well, is there going to be a True Crime Tuesday this week?
There will be.
Of course there is. Yeah, of course there's a True Crime Tuesday this week. It's funny. I actually got an email from Audio Boom asking us what weeks we were going to take off, or what days we were going to take off next year. I'm like, are you kidding me? Days off?
Yeah, what's the day off?
Yeah.
That was the hardest thing, going from full-time to, I guess I'm not part-time, but not as much in-ring, so I'm older, was literally waking up on a Saturday and going, what do I do now? That's 22 years. Like, this is the first time, for the second 4th of July in 22 years, that I ever got to just not do anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do I do with my hands? Like, what am I supposed to do? What's the day off?
I'm having a hard time because what they do is, if you decide you're going to take time off, which I thought was a little laughable for being a radio guy, I just, they just, move. Well, we'll move your advertising around. Well, don't move money around. But no, it's not just that. But here's the deal, folks, and this is what I like to think too: is you depend on us, your friends, to be around when there's nobody else around. Yeah. And if you happen to be going through a tough time on a holiday, maybe you can't be with family, maybe you can't be with friends on a holiday. At least you can turn on this podcast, and we'll be there for you.
Yeah, you got the Bruiser and the Cruiser in your corner.
That's right. And you can have a fresh show over a holiday weekend or a holiday week.
Yeah.
So we're going to do our very darn best to make sure that we're putting out new material over those holiday weeks. So I just thought it was funny that Audio Boom wanted to know what weeks we were off.
At least they're thinking of us, right?
Yeah. So we'll plan vacations and stuff around. We'll try to tape ahead so that we can get a vacation in during the year. But yeah, it is what it is. So that's it. That's it for today. On tomorrow's show, we are talking UFO abduction, Bruiser. UFO abduction. That's where we're going. Our guests for tomorrow are a couple of gentlemen, George and Dan Baldwin and George Sewell. Dan Baldwin's a professional writer, often a ghostwriter for other professionals. George Sewell just describes himself as a cognitive philanthropist. Together, they're talking about the paranormal pendulum, what the spirits say. We're also going to go into UFO abduction. We're going to be talking about the latest Netflix show, Haunted, which also deals with the UFO phenomenon, near-death experiences, the afterlife, out-of-body experiences. We're getting into all of it tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
and it'll be a good listen.
It will be.
As it always is. As it always is.
Yep. And it will have to do with one particular girl who has been abducted by UFOs, and they've been tracking her throughout her life since she's been abducted. So, it's going to be an interesting show tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tune in for that right here on the best in paranormal podcasting. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. Join us again tomorrow for another great show right here on Darkness Radio.